I'm Sheldon Neal, and this is the Forum Daily Update for Thursday, July 23rd, 2020. The federal finance minister is continuing to face calls for his resignation. Minister Bill Morneau found himself in hot water yesterday after testifying at the Commons Finance Committee's probe of the agreement between We Charity and the federal government to run a student volunteer program. Minister Morneau revealed that he had just repaid over $41,000 in travel charges to the organization for a trip taken back in 2017. Both the finance minister and Prime Minister Trudeau have been caught up in the growing scandal over conflict of interest issues. Refugee advocates have won a legal victory in their battle against the Safe Third Country Agreement between Canada and the United States. Federal Court Justice Anne Marie MacDonald has ruled elements of the law in the agreement violate constitutional guarantees of life, liberty, and security. The agreement allows Canada to turn back potential refugees who arrive at ports of entry along the border on the basis they must pursue their claims in the U.S. because that's where they first arrived. The Canadian Council for Refugees, the Canadian Council of Churches, and Amnesty International argued the U.S. is not always a safe country for people fleeing persecution. U.S. President Donald Trump says federal agents will be sent into Chicago and Albuquerque to help combat rising crime. The declaration comes as President Trump runs for re-election under a law and order mantle. Yesterday, the president described Democratic-led cities are out of control, even though criminal justice experts say the increase in violence in some cities defies easy explanation. The decision to dispatch federal agents to American cities is playing out at a crucial moment in American politics. Provincial police say two young sisters found dead after an Amber Alert near Quebec City this month were murdered with a blunt object by their father. The bodies of Nora, 11, and Romy, age 6, were found on July 11th in a wooded area in Saint-Apollinaire. Martin Carpentier's body was found Monday night, several kilometers away. Police say he took his own life. The Amber Alert was triggered the day after the crash, but police say the sisters were killed earlier that morning. The criminal investigation is complete, and the province's coroner will now investigate the circumstances surrounding the deaths. Well, an Ontario First Nation has secured nearly 1,700 hectares of additional land. The Long Lake Number 58 First Nation says the land, including mines and minerals, has been added to its reserve under the First Nations Land Management Act. Representatives with the First Nation say they have been working on securing the additional land for more than 45 years to offset the 260 hectares provided by the federal government in 1905. Turn to Manitoba now. Manitoba Premier Brian Pallister hopes hosting the Canadian Football League will be an economic boost for Manitoba. The CFL has decided to play a shortened season in Winnipeg if the league can get money from Ottawa and an agreement with players. Premier Pallister says having hundreds of players and staff in the city would help the hotel and food industries. He also says having the players tested frequently and kept separate from the public would ensure safety for everyone. Cineplex executives at Cineplex Incorporated are urging the Ontario government to loosen restrictions over how many people can occupy its buildings at a single time. COO Dan McGrath says the company has been in conversations with the province's health ministry in hopes of revising movie theater limits to allow 50 moviegoers inside a single auditorium. Ontario's Stage 3 opening guidelines cap movie theaters at an occupancy of 50 people throughout the entire building. Mr. McGrath says the existing capacity doesn't make economic sense for the chain as it faces the cost of running the business and paying employees at each theater. Austin, Texas will be the site for Tesla's largest auto assembly plant. The new factory will employ at least 5,000 workers who will build Tesla's upcoming Cybertruck pickup, which is scheduled to be available starting late next year. It also will be a second U.S. factory for the Model Y small SUV. Greece has warned it will do whatever is necessary to defend its sovereign rights in response to plans by Turkey to proceed with an oil and gas research mission. The dispute over seabed mineral rights has led to increased Navy deployments by both NATO members in the region, as a Turkish research vessel is being prepared for a survey mission. A Greek government spokesperson described the mission as a direct violation of Greek sovereignty. Bolivia's plan to hold elections in September is increasingly in doubt amid reports about rising coronavirus deaths. Police say that in a span of 5 days, they have recovered more than 400 bodies of suspected victims of COVID-19 from the streets, vehicles, and homes of the capital of La Paz and Santa Cruz. A committee that advises the health ministry on containment measures has said that holding the vote as scheduled is not and cannot be advisable because of the rapid spread of the virus. China has launched its most ambitious Mars mission yet in an attempt to join the United States in successfully landing a spacecraft on the Red Planet. The rocket carrying the orbiter and rover took off from an island south of China's mainland. It's the second launch towards Mars this week after a Japanese rocket sent an orbiter into space Monday. Meanwhile, the U.S. is aiming to launch Perseverance, its most sophisticated Mars rover ever, from Cape Canaveral, Florida, next week. China's spacecraft will take 7 months to reach Mars. That's all for today's episode of Forum Update. I'm Sheldon Neal, and I'll see you next time.